All right, welcome to our 11 o'clock session, although it's 10 minutes to 12. We will review reports and requests and issues from our Public Service Department. And to start off with, building and planning.
Morning, Commissioners. Building and Planning, Mike Wilson, Deputy Director. Here to give you a brief update on our virtual inspection program. This is something that we had brought to you before and launched and been working through the process very successfully. Recently received some help from IT in making this happen. This morning we were provided with our Zoom link. I've talked to contractors the past week to provide a beta test. We've done so internally. Now we want to go external and be certain that there's no bugs or flaws before we release to the general public. So they're enthusiastic, the contractors especially, for receiving this because they understand ways that it can benefit them, cut their timelines, reduce bottlenecks in the process. So all around looks great, and anticipating good things.
Right. It's good news to hear. So full implementation you'd expect when?
Pardon me?
Full implementation would be.
We're going to go testing with the contractors this week.
Right.
And then after that, we can release it to the general public. Next weekish.
Any other
I missed
questions?
the first sentence. This is with the True Point stuff.
No, these are virtual inspections that we are offering contractors, homeowners, whereby they can basically FaceTime an inspection.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Gee, is Doug still on here? I'm surprised.
I don't see him on.
It's kind of weird for me because I'm not sure how I feel about inspections in general, but I'm going to show you something that isn't my house and you're going to say it's good.
Well, we have a process whereby we're going to validate that. Just as an inspector, we're on site, they validate it by the presence of the address, recognizability of the building. So we're doing our effort to, as we would on site. So we'll have a process whereby they'll introduce themselves, we'll introduce ourselves, we'll ask them to go to the front of the building with the facing address, whatever's necessary to validate the location.
Okay.
Any other questions? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, a little, because we were already late on you, I'm trying to, maybe I'll come down and you can show me more.
Sure. All right. Thank you.
Okay, another item, agenda item is I'm Tracy Jackson, Director of Building and Planning. Excuse me. We have the planning staff update. Greta had officially left us last Thursday. She'd been gone about a month on or off prior to that. So we've had a definite hole in our planning manager position. I'm going to work with HR and Mike Moss and Public Services and get a plan in place to come forward next week and ask for hopefully a refill, but we'll kind of see what everyone else contributes in before, but we definitely have a hole in that area. So, and then today the board approved my planning secretary is going over to the clerk's office or back to the clerk's office. So the board approved that. So thank you. Hopefully we'll get a union signer and somebody in there. Very vital role. Right now, we only have 2 clerical down there, 1 for building and 1 for planning. So the planning one also does the planning commission meeting. So a highly important role, and I appreciate the refill on that one. And the last update is the planning clearances update. When we first did planning clearances at the counter, we tried to do them holistically to give people insight on what they can and can't do based on what they were requesting and what obstacles they would have along the way. So we knew everything up front. We tried to give the applicant everything that they would know ahead of time, so there was no surprises. And we we have a way to, with one of our assessor systems, we can let the applicant know when they have, it's called a green, yellow, or red. It's basically a stop sign for our epic reports. And green has always been go. You know, there's no holdups, there's no restrictions. Let's just continue through the process. Those have been scheduled out for some time and we've had a lot of complaints. So we're back to doing those green at the counter. So that's fantastic. It's a different way of thinking downstairs that's been there for a while, but we're back to the issuing them. With BPAC, we heard a lot of complaints with it, you know, we were holding up permits and we don't want to do that. So now we're issuing those at the counter or as they come in through the portal. So it's exciting news. We're trying to be forward thinking and keeping the customer informed along the way, but also keeping them forward and moving forward in the process and not being roadblocks or stumbling ground along the way. So that's exciting news. Our BPAC will be very happy for that. That's all I have. Looking
Super.
forward to, more updating changes, but I want to thank Mike Wilson and his forward thinking on that virtual inspections and Commissioner Mortensen, not all, we want you to come down and look at the process. Not all inspections will be virtual. They'll still need inspectors out on their properties. It just sometimes some inspections qualify for this or it would work for that. So we're not holding them up on certain other aspects of their build. Yep.
So, Tracy, what kind of data do you end up using to know if the change has been successful?
Well, we would have less customer complaints. That would be ideal. And issuing more permits in a timely manner. We have,
So in a timely manner, that means reducing the length of time they sit in a pile.
that's correct. That's correct.
So I've heard in the past, I've heard a number of kind of targets, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or 6 weeks. And I don't know what the
Mhm.
standard is. I can't remember which one we're aiming for. I mean, 10 days sounds good to me, but
Well, the green ones should be within the same day. So those should be out in and out the door the same day or within the next day, depending on when they come in during the day. The rest of them, it just depends on what kind of an application. Some of them, you know, if it's a short plat, we have 30 days to get out their preliminary approval letter. And then we issue that out to the applicant and then they have up to 5 years to get it complete. Same with a subdivision, a large lot. So it just kind of, it depends on what type of application, but if it's for a building permit, the planning clearances or a septic permit, the planning clearance is done first. So those, my hope is we get those in and out. Anything that's less than, or anything other than green is my goal down the road will be less than a week, but we'll see how long it takes us to get there.
Okay.
We have some backlog that we need to get through, but we are working on it.
okay. Other questions?
No, thanks, Tracy.
All right,
Thank you.
great, thank you. Next, our Public Works activities.
Good morning, Susan Eugenius County Engineer. So I will jump right in to keep us moving along. So the first item I'm bringing is the 46th Avenue project participation. The city of Longview went through a process. Do you want me to give them the short version? Okay, so the short version is 46th Avenue over in West Longview, the first 300 feet is in the county and the additional 1,550 feet are in the city. The city has
So is this to the north or to the south of Ocean Beach Highway?
to the,
Northeast, southwest.
let me look at my drawing here. It's to the north of
Towards-
Ocean Beach Highway.
Towards Robert Gray School.
If that's where Robert Gray School is, yes.
That's the school in the county, yeah.
Okay. So anyhow, they went through a whole process. They're planning on replacing the water and sewer along the whole length and rebuilding the roadway. They went out and they obtained grants for the roadway portion of the road, and they have bid the project, and they want to include as part of the project the first 300 feet, which is in the county. So it's actually less than a block, and wanted us to participate in the project. To do so, we'd have to enter into an agreement like we did with the city of Kelso for the railroad overcrossing. And based on, and this was doing pure percentage wise, based on the bid that they received, and the county portion being approximately 16% of the project. With the grants they received, our portion of the project cost would be just over $67,000. So the question is, do you want us to proceed forward and work on getting that agreement so that this project can be built for the entire length?
It's your district.
So just the portion of it is in county. Does this happen to, and I don't know if it does, they just annexed a piece of property over there. At the last council meeting, they put in a deal to start annexing a piece of property over in that area. Is this by this at all?
I am unaware of what property they annexed. It's over by the marijuana stores that are in the county that aren't properly licensed. It's at that intersection. But I'm not sure where they annexed. I was not involved in that or proposing to annex.
So this would be paving the approaches to the illegal marijuana stores then, right?
Yes. But it would be reconstructing the roadway, putting in sidewalk, curb and gutter, adding bike lanes. So the total project cost, including the water and sewer, is 5.87 million, and we'd be paying 67,000 for our portion.
I don't have a concern about that. That's a relatively small amount of money for a huge project like that. And it's a good example of cooperation. I don't necessarily like the idea that we're helping improve access to an illegal operation, but that's a different issue to solve.
46, is that where the old restaurant? And the,
Boondocks, isn't it? The old
so
Boondocks or Guadalajara.
46 is that intersection of Ocean Beach and Boondocks and that part of that road. That's pretty narrow road down back in there, the Robert Gray, so they're gonna improve that there. Okay,
Okay,
there's a lot of residential people in there that. I don't know.
there is. And once you get past the beginning, it's a lot of residential. So I will work with the city of Longview and get that moving if that's your desire.
Fine. Questions? Fine. Okay, I guess we're okay with it.
Okay. The next item is the Stormwater Capacity Grant Amendment. So this fall, you delegated authority for me to enter into the ecology agreement where they refund money to the county for implementing our MPDS permit. They've come out with an amendment they'd like us to sign. The amendment changes the reimbursement available from $70,000 to $132,500. So I'm requesting if you would, asking if you would like me to go ahead and sign that amendment, and then we'll run it through the consent agenda as we did with the original agreement.
That makes more money available for us for the work that you're going to be doing anyway.
Yes, it's more money available for us for work we're doing anyway.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. Art? We're okay? Yep.
Real estate services on call. In the past, we've had a contract, I think expired the last one in 2021. We had a realtor on site or on call for vacant properties or textile properties or maybe surplus properties that we were able to sell. Staff had mentioned to me that they have quite a few things that you guys have surplused over the years. I think it started with Matt Hansen that have never sold. We certainly wouldn't sell them without bringing those properties back to you since there's been some time in between when you guys actually surplused it to now. But the moves.
Are these the slew of slivers of roads on right of ways that we
Certain
didn't use that?
Partials, yeah, certain ones, and certain ones might be, may not be valuable to us, but as a homeowner, that might give them another quarter of an acre and, be able to put a fence up or something like that. Who knows? They're not large pieces from what I understand from staff, but they were surplus quite a few years back. And for us to sell them internally, it's tough without a realtor on board. So we're looking at to go, if you're blessing an RFQ, find out what realtors in the area would help us out. And then, like I said, we'd come back to you guys when we're ready to sell those properties since they've been surplus.
It is kind of a hard sell though, isn't it?
Yeah,
They get
it
to
is.
use the property without owning it and they don't pay taxes on it anyway.
Correct. Yeah.
Are most of them being taken care of by the adjacent landowner or
Sometimes, yeah,
sometimes?
about half of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the real estate agent doesn't get any money unless he sells. He gets a
Correct.
commission.
Yes.
yeah.
And it'd be a pretty small commission. I don't think it's not gonna be a lot of money. These slivers of land are worth a lot.
You don't think they're gonna be lining up at the door?
No, they're not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
but we just need some assistance to sell them.
Do they? These aren't the properties that have been foreclosed on and carry debts to
They're-
local governments or?
I had to get a list from staff to exactly which ones they are for you. And I'll work with Deborah.
Because those
to
are
do-
even more difficult to sell because they
Yeah.
have to pay the back
Exactly.
fees or assessments and stuff. Well, I don't have any, I don't have any objection to
Yeah.
having somebody try to make money off of that, so.
Yeah,
So
I don't either.
it'll take a little bit of process to get the RFQ out. We just want to get the green light to move forward on that. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes it's interesting, the legacy that some of our employees leave behind.
So the next item we have is it's on the agenda tomorrow. It's the County Road Administration yearly reporting. So it's basically reporting what we did in 2022. It's all our financials that the board needs to go through and improve. It shows what we did on the annual construction program last year, where we spent our maintenance money. And then there's the fish passage money. If we spent money technically out of the right of way, we need to report on that also. And if we did a diversion, it would have been the diversion paperwork. So that is on the board's agenda for tomorrow. Stuff we see every year.
Is this the one that comes with a certificate on a job well done or is that later?
The certificate comes after we do this because we have to send them all of our policies that we have adopted and things of that. So that's the one, we get these certificates in May, June, I think is usually when they come for the good practice of the year.
It's probably in the report that I haven't seen, but they grant us the money that we're reporting our usage on, as well as the other things that we do, right?
Yes.
And we get about how much a year from them on average?
I do not know that number off the top of my head. It's because they handle the motor vehicle fuel tax and then it's the CRAB grants that we received, our RATA money. So I don't know the number off the top of my head.
And and CRAB reviews mostly maintenance stuff. It's not new construction, is it? Or does their money include the new construction?
So their money is the new construction when we're using it on arterials, when we get CRAB grants, those RATA funds go to new construction, but the majority of their money goes for maintenance. So they review it all, but they are mainly making sure we're maintaining our roads.
And the CRAB board has a board of directors that is mostly county officials, either county commissioners or engineers, if I understand correctly.
Correct.
So it's unique, I think, among all the states, I believe, that the counties have this kind of autonomy that the state has set up to kind of govern a lot of the expenditures. The non-federal dollars.
The non-federal dollars, and then we have to report the federal to
Yeah.
WashDOT, so.
And in the legislature's warped sense of humor, they coined this cute acronym for this board. The
We-
crab board.
Yeah, we have to have something to amuse us.
All right. Any other questions? We'll see more details tomorrow.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Anything else for us? Okay.
Did he want to review that? Did you want to review?
Well, go ahead.
Well. Port of Kalama sent us a letter. Boundary Review Board nomination, and Port of Kalama is asking us to nominate Gerald Sorrell to remain on the Cowlitz County Boundary Review Board for a new term. So it sounds like he's currently on the board and they're just asking that we renew it for a new term. 31-year career at the Washington State Department of Transportation, managed several projects, including Allen Strait Bridge replacement. Retired civil engineer with the state of Washington. It sounds like Port of Kalama has been happy with him being on that board, so they're asking that we re-nominate him to that board.
Arn, is Jerry still involved with the Kelso Airport activities? He's a pilot and Jerry Sorrell.
I guess I should know, but I don't.
I know he did a lot of, he retired and so stepped down
Right.
from some activities, but I remember him from,
Can you
when I
describe
was-
him?
not
Full
really.
head of hair, white.
yeah, glasses.
Anyhow,
Thinning hair.
I-
Okay. Okay. I know him and I think pretty highly of him. He's got a good,
Let's do it.
good
Yeah.
thought process. So,
Yeah,
all right. So with no objections, we'll reappoint Mr. Sorrell to the Boundary Review Board. That's one of the positions we get to select, right? The governor picks some of the other ones. All right, anything else? Okay. Hearing none, that motion or this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.